XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, welcome in. Glad you're along. A brand new drug as we're one day closer. The first State Farm College football report of the year today. Shane Matthews, Tom Block, Joe Zagacki. That's what we got coming up today. Excited about that one. That comes up today. You ready?
That's always awesome. And you know what? We're gonna blink. And it'll be the last one of the year.
It really.
I mean, it happens every year.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100%.
We're gonna blink.
Yeah.
And it'll be the last one. So we're gonna enjoy it, soak it up while it's here.
Brett Hastings will join us coming up in just a bit. We'll talk a little bit about NIL, and a North Carolina mom is now brought up the latest lawsuit. So that comes up today. So we got Sports and Courts coming up. That is at 4:20. The State Farm College football report. I can't wait. That comes up at the top of the hour. We got a practice squad. Have you heard?
I have.
No real surprises, so we'll get to that coming up in just a bit. I do have sad news to report.
Well, that's not good.
I've lost a friend.
Really?
Yeah, lost a friend today. You ever lose a friend?
Lost a friend. Terrible.
Today. Lost a friend today. The Chicago Cubs beat the Pirates 18-8 2 nights ago. Last night they beat them 9-2. So they scored 27 in the first two games. Today the Pirates led them 10-3 with Skeens on the mound.
Wow.
I explained to my former friend, Taylor Dahl, that if the Cubs came back and won this one, the friendship's over. It was 10-3 Pirates, 14-10 Cubs now in the
You've
ninth.
got to be kidding
14-10. It was 10-3 Pirates. It's now 14-10 Cubs. Friendship's over.
Wow.
Sometimes you lose a friend. I told her I'm not being friends with her anymore.
How did that happen?
I don't know, don't care. I just know that I've got to find a replacement friend. I've gone on LinkedIn.
Do you have to find a replacement laptop?
No, just a replacement friend. Okay. I'm taking resumes.
Yeah.
Taking resumes. I need a video reel. I want to see your work.
Put together a hot board.
I need a hot board because Taylor Dahl and I are no longer friends. I just told her that, and to her credit, she
gracious.
She gave me the pity look. You know the pity look you give the first. It was just a total pity. It wasn't even trash talk.
Trust me, I've gotten the pity look my whole life.
It was totally the pity look. So I got the pity look for. So there's that. So 14-10 Cubs after it was 10-3 Pirates. After getting we held them to 27 runs the first two games. So just so you know,
what's happened?
We finally got them out. So they've only scored in a 3-game series. JJ, they've only scored 41 on us. Okay. We've held them to 41.
And they're not exactly the best team in baseball.
I mean, is Andre Dawson back? And
40, let me say that again for those in the back that couldn't hear quite as well. 3-game series, 41 runs.
Wow.
That's what I got.
I mean, at this point, do you have to give him the speech about have some pride?
I don't care enough about it. It's a stupid sport and a stupid team, and I don't care. And I've lost a friend over it. So there's that.
What they were doing well. What are they over the last 30 games?
Well, they were 3 games over, and now they're 10 under. So just not playing very well. So they kind of ran out of gas. They were kind of probably not all that good anyway. But so there you go. So
because you were buzzing around here for a
I
while,
was talking trash, wasn't I?
Yeah.
By the way, it's a shame. I'm such a good trash talker.
Yeah.
It's a shame the Pirates suck all the time.
It would be fun if they ever made a run.
Can you imagine if they were ever
pennant.
can you imagine me in this building?
Oh, it'd be
People would be resigning. People would be going into Griffin's office. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. No notice. No
I'm
nothing.
I'm
just leaving
a sabbatical.
today.
I'll be back November 1st.
Exactly right. So, oh goodness. All right, a lot of things to talk about today. Practice roster. I think most things in the practice roster. By the way, I'm getting texts for people that are willing to replace Taylor.
Oh, that's
nice.
So
thank you.
Well,
for
that's
that.
good. That's got to boost your confidence.
It's nice to have replacement friends ready to replace Taylor Dahl as my friend. Any surprises on the practice roster for you?
No, I don't think so. And it worked out well. The guys that they released, none of them got picked up. The ones that were subject to waivers. So, that's what you want to see, and it makes it a lot easier to put together that practice squad. So obviously 90% of it will be guys that were here throughout camp. I think they announced 14 of the 16, so that's good. Those are guys that obviously know the culture, know the routine, and should have no trouble, getting back settled in, and hopefully we don't ever have to see them play here.
As I see the names, I do not see Blake Hance on there. Did you?
I did not, but he is, like you were saying, he's a free agent. He's not subject to waivers. So, I mean, maybe he's
and he's the guy they want.
Fielding calls.
And I can
his
tell
agent maybe having 3 or 4 offers where they're trying to negotiate his, for him, the best deal.
Yeah, and he's the guy they want. He was one of the better players that they cut. So he's a guy. He would be a veteran on that, and he's a guy they want. But I'm guessing he's a guy that is probably getting a lot of phone calls. The question is he getting calls for other practice squads? Because I would imagine if that's it, he'd want to come here. He's here. He's living here. His wife's here. So I would think he'd want to be here. But if someone's going to put him on the 53,
right,
then that's a different conversation.
Or somebody's going to say, look, it'll be practice squad, but, in Jacksonville, you might need 1 or 2 injuries. Here you might, we can pretty much say you're one away. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah. But, yeah, I thought it worked out well. And we always, I think, largely fret a little too much about, they're going to lose all their guys are going to get picked up elsewhere. And that doesn't happen. So guys like Christian Braswell, as surprising as it was that he didn't make the 53, he's back on the practice squad. He's a Jaguar, and somebody could obviously sign him off the practice squad, but then they have to commit to him being on their 53 for 3 weeks. So usually your practice squad guy is pretty safe.
And I would think there's guys on this practice squad that could help the team this year. I think Braswell's one of them. I think Elijah Cooks is one of them if they had an injury. I think Austin Trammell is one of them. I think DJ Coleman is one. I think there's players on this practice squad that could help them this season.
Right. I mean, you hope they don't.
Right.
Yeah, but
that's correct.
But if called into action,
that's correct.
Hopefully they will be serviceable.
Yeah.
Because that's all you can really expect. You can't expect great.
Right. Because here's the reality. Somebody's getting hurt. It's football.
Absolutely.
So somebody's getting hurt. So there's guys here that if and when that happens.
It's just a question of will it be 6 guys or will it be 18 guys?
Yeah. So there certainly is that. So we'll certainly talk about it. I got a lot of things to talk about. Brett Hastings joins us to talk about an NIL issue that is a very interesting one involving a potential lawsuit. We'll certainly talk about that. We've got headlines coming up. We'll talk some Florida, Miami as we get closer and closer to it. Some NFL news. The Steelers have picked their quarterback. Dalvin Cook is back in the league. Boy, I thought Dalvin Cook was going to be a great pro.
He was a sensational pro.
Yeah.
But boy, did it go quick.
Yeah, you're right. He was a good pro, but it didn't last long. And sometimes with running backs, it doesn't. But I thought this was a guy, man.
He had 5 great years. It was funny. It's interesting you mentioned that because I actually looked at because I was puzzled by how did this happen to him. His last full year in Minnesota, he had a great year. I mean, he was like well over 1,100 yards, double-digit touchdowns, and then he leaves Minnesota, and it just falls apart for him. I mean, his numbers last year were brutal, like 3.2 yards per carry. The Ravens signed him. They didn't even play him. So after he, was with the Jets. So he had a fantastic 5-6 year run. But, we always think 30 with running backs. Right. Well, some of them don't even get that far. And it seems like with Dalvin, who I believe is just 28 years old. Dalvin Cook just turned 29 years old. But basically since he turned 28, hasn't been nearly the same guy. So we'll see what he can be for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and I hope he sticks around.
I wouldn't have high expectations.
Yeah, I wouldn't. And again, like you said, running backs, that tends to happen. So we got a lot of fun things to talk about today on the program. I am telling you, we haven't even talked about it yet. Georgia Clemson has my attention. I mean, Georgia Clemson. I'm excited about what I think Georgia Clemson is.
Absolutely. I mean, that's 2 obviously outstanding programs. I mean, again, the Florida State loss has sort of made this week even more fun from the sense of, well, I thought I kind of knew what FSU was, and obviously anybody that thought that they were going to be really good, obviously now you're like, well, that's not what ended up happening. So it does challenge you. Like, I think Georgia's going to win the national title. I think they're going to be really elite. Is that what we'll see? I don't think Clemson's going to be particularly strong. But will they surprise and give Georgia everything they want? So I think Florida State's surprising performance in Dublin, it's games that you thought, Georgia's going to kill Clemson. Well, maybe you give it a second look because maybe Clemson takes them right down the wire. I still would be shocked if Clemson beat them.
I would too.
But but you never know. I'm still kind of shocked that Georgia Tech beat Florida State.
Yeah, I feel like Georgia is so much better most years than most teams that FSU was starting to approach that, but not the way Georgia was.
Right. And Georgia has maybe the Heisman Trophy winner and number 1 pick at quarterback.
That's right. So, but if Clemson is going to start. If Clemson's ever going to go back to being what they were in that amazing stretch, if they're ever going to get back to being like that, you should see signs of it on Saturday. That doesn't mean you have to win the game.
Right, but it should be a 60-minute fight.
That's exactly. If it's 35-9, then you would think that Dabo's staying the course on his non-portal stuff. I mean, it's a big game for them. I hate to say moral victories when you've won 2 national titles in the last 15 years or whatever it is, or last 10 years. But you almost think that if Clemson has a good showing in this game, that's a good sign. Again,
you're right. Anytime your team loses, it's disappointing. But I think once you got beyond the first hour of the loss and had it some time to take a couple deep breaths, if Clemson were to lose this game 31-30, I think they would look at it and say, well, here's what we know. We know that we'll see what happens with Miami in the Swamp. But I think you would come out of that. If you're Clemson, Florida State's the team that you've got to be. That's your bar right now. It's always been your bar. And it's your bar now because Florida State is the defending league champion. Well, I think even with a close loss to Georgia, you would look at it and say, well, all we have to go off of is 60 minutes of football on each side, but it looks like we're much stronger than Florida State. So I think you would be somewhat encouraged because, again, with the playoff format, just win your league. You win your league, you're at worst the 4th seed. I mean, so just win if you're Clemson, I think you would have a lot of confidence that, we lost to Georgia, but it's not a conference game. And now if we can go win the ACC, we are at worst the 4th seed in this thing.
Well, I'll say this. If Boston College hangs around with Florida State, the message then is sent that the championship is wide open. I think there's some conversation about that already. But you could also say, okay, it's one game. It's DJU's first game there.
Right.
A lot of portal guys, so we'll see what happens.
And what if Miami goes into the Swamp and hammers Florida?
That's exactly right. All right, we'll take a break. Sports and culture next. NIL is in the news. Brett Hastings will break it down for us and tell us why. That's next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Celebrate a new season.
Don't hold nothing back.
1010XL's college kickoff coverage is brought to you by Jenkins Genesis of Northeast Florida and Island Oaks RV Park.
Do not start celebrating too early.
On 1010XL.
Rejoice.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of certified vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $89.99. Plus, they come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile peace of mind warranty and free oil changes. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. Deadline August 31st. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
If you're from the South, you know all about fried green tomatoes and BLTs. So put some South in your mouth and get to Bono's to try the fried green tomatoes appetizer served with Reggie Ranch and one-of-a-kind Bono's BLT with smoked brisket, lettuce, and fried green tomatoes served with one southern side. Frank Frangie here, and I'm telling you, I love fried green tomatoes, and this sandwich is out of sight. So head to your local Bono's today. The fried green tomatoes appetizer and BLT is a summer sensation. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Feeling the heat, Jacksonville? Cool down with Bold City Heating and Air. From repairs to energy-efficient installs, we do it all. Family-owned and trusted since 2016, we offer clear pricing, NATE-certified techs, and unbeatable service. Call Bold City Heating and Air today and experience the bold difference. Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Bold City AC. Visit boldcityac.com.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida, and don't let the state decide your fate.
Lauren Brooks here. Circa Resort and Casino has an incredible all-in package for Duval in December. For only $500 tax and resort fee included, get a 3-night stay at Circa, $200 food and beverage credit, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive screen, it's the world's largest hot tub party. Join us Heels Friday night for a Jacksonville pep rally with specials and giveaways. To book the Jacksonville game day getaway and join the Heels in Vegas, visit circalasvegas.com today.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we want it, we got to bring it.
My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hays Blog on 1010XL.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg. But Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There are a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, four-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesofJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, let's talk about diamond cutting. How is a diamond price affected by the way it is cut?
Frank, that's probably the most important question asked about diamonds, because the trade-off between a diamond cut for maximum beauty and one that's not is the diamond's carat weight. You see, diamond cutters buy rough diamonds based on quality and weight. So as they cut the rough diamond, everything cut away affects profits. However, there's specific known cutting parameters, and each deviation from these means they have a heavier, less beautiful diamond. Unfortunately, a customer can't detect all those cutting imperfections. They need expert help about a diamond's cut grade. You see, for any round diamond of a particular color, clarity, and carat weight, there are as many as 10 different prices that can vary by as much as 50%. At Underwoods, we look specifically at how a diamond's cut before we look at anything else, because it's the most important factor when it comes to a diamond's beauty, and to us, whether it should carry the Underwood name or not.
How is the internet delivered? The answer coming right up.
With hurricane season now here, the only weather you need to be concerned about is whether your homeowner's insurance policy will cover you in the event of storm damage. Ask about Southern Oak Insurance today.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
The internet is mainly delivered to us via undersea cables.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to bring your friends out and enjoy our spectacular golf course, which is carved out of some of the highest elevations in North Florida. Hidden Hills Golf Club, unlike any other. Check us out, hiddenhillsgc.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports in Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
Welcome back to the program on a Wednesday, Ricketts Electric Wednesday. We certainly appreciate Zach and all our friends from Ricketts Electric, the best in the business. Frangie Carlyon with you, JJ LaSelva, and our buddy Brett Hastings. It is Sports in Courts. How are you, buddy?
Doing great.
Good? Life good?
Life is good.
Okay. NIL still, I don't know if it makes me chuckle or bemuses me or bewilders me, but this is a good one you got today.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting, and I think people will relate to it. And
so tell people the overview.
All right. So there is a 5-star quarterback. Hayes just telling me he's in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yep.
He's going to go to Tennessee. He's a rising junior,
What's his
but
name?
I mean, he's a
Faison Brandon. He's the number, according to 24/7 Sports, he's the #1 player in the nation.
So he's a great player.
Right.
Great.
So he's going to Tennessee, but he lives in North Carolina. So in North Carolina, they passed a Senate Bill 452, and in it, it's kind of in quotations, they say that student amateur status requirements, including rules related to use of a student's name, image, and likeness, should be handled essentially by the Board of Education, right? And I'm sure it's kind of like our, FHSAA that, rules over things. So they said, you go do it. Well, when they went and instituted the rule, they said, there will be none. You can have no money. There can be no NIL. There's nothing that could be, in that regard. So the mother has filed a lawsuit because he's probably not 18, right? Is a rising junior or might be there. So
probably isn't.
Probably, right. Because it's, she's having to file for him to enforce his potential rights, right? To name, image, and likeness. And so they've sued and they're seeking an injunction to say, hey, we need to be able to do this right now, right? Like he's only got one time in high school or whatever. What's interesting is what's fleshed out in the complaint is that Fanatics had come to him, and what they say is that it's a life-changing amount of money to have his card and other name, image, and likeness rights, right? And that, and that goes to probably away from a pay-for-play type thing, and somebody really going and saying, we think this guy's going to be a big-time player. We want to have a contractual relationship with him, right? LeBron before LeBron type of a thing. And so this lawsuit's cranking forward. I don't know how good it'd be on the injunction, but I think they've got a really strong argument on the other. This is not an antitrust argument, right? Like in all of the other NIL things, what they have said is the people controlling college football conspired not to allow these other people, right, the players, to profit from their name, image, and likeness, and instead the colleges did, okay? So that's a different thing. Here they're saying, hey, this is what we call statutory construction. They're saying your rule, the board, the Board of Education's rule is not consistent with the intent of the Senate bill and statute. So I do think a judge will determine that. Now, this is a fixed amount of money, right? They're saying if I don't get money from name, image, and likeness, that's the one thing that defeats at times an injunction and may cause it to continue to be a lawsuit, right? You could go and seek an injunction to say, hey, I've only got one chance in my life to play my, senior year at the Florida-Georgia game, right? And you maybe couldn't get it back, right? And so maybe somebody would enjoin it and say, hey, let him go play the game type of a thing. Whereas the fact that they've outlined there's a set amount of money, we don't know what it is. It's not in the complaint. But a set amount of money is what we call liquidated damages or, because there's a finite amount that a lot of times will kind of defeat the injunction, but doesn't mean that it's not a very valid lawsuit.
Is the injunction, is it helped because of the nature of the sport? I mean, could they argue, look, if Faison breaks his leg, then his value is going to go down. That's why we need this immediate relief to take advantage of this.
And I think that would be, it's a good job, right? Like you guys, lawyers, man, and that's the argument that you would make. Yeah, Hays. And that's what you would do. The counter would be, hey, this all just comes down to money, one way or the other. But, that is the most compelling argument that you can make is that I've got a short period of time. I might be a 5-star now, but if I'm unable to play, right, is my name, image, and likeness worth anything? It's not.
What's going to happen? What's your guess? Because it's a fascinating story.
I think it's 50-50 on the injunction, but I think it's a real strong lawsuit on the other. And the only way, if the state really kind of wants to defeat it, is they'd have to come back and pass a law that was specific in going to banning it. But I think then they could get into a lot of the same other problems. And the reason that I really think that this, hurts things here is that we now live in an age where these guys go to IMG, right? They go to Texas and play high school football. If you're the number one player in the country and you're not going to allow them to have name, image, and likeness potentially in high school, I think you're going to see people relocate. So I would think the schools would come in and the administrators and say, hey, we're not saying you don't have some rules relating to it, but you can't say that they cannot profit at all.
Hayes, I think, and Brett, you weigh in here too. I think where we're headed with this thing is, and I say this every time we have one of these topics, everybody's going to be able to be paid for everything. Isn't that where we're headed?
Even if you're in fourth grade.
Yeah.
I think it's where it's headed. If somebody is willing to pay you
that's right.
for your services as an athlete, no matter your age, look, we've been doing it in tennis for decades and decades. Right. I mean, for whatever in baseball, we never have had a problem with a 17-year-old signing a massive deal.
Right.
So I for whatever reason, football's been the one. Oh, you can't do it in football, but it now seems like we're evolving to the point
Aren't we headed to that, Brett? Eventually, everybody can be paid for everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
if we're not
isn't
there
that,
now,
isn't,
right?
Isn't that the design
right.
of the system?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't the system of capitalism that if you have a talent, a skill, and somebody is willing to pay you for that skill, you should be able to.
There's like
to
6-year-olds
take it,
on
right?
YouTube
I
who
mean,
are millionaires from like
that's
toy
right.
reviews.
Yeah, that's right. So there are 6-year-olds. Well, the bottom line is college football, the NCAA or whatever governing body existed before it, has gotten away with over a century of not letting people make money for their talent. Right? They've gotten away with it.
It really is amazing.
They've gotten away with it for forever of not letting you get. How do you do that?
Right.
That's restrain a trade, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some arguments, obviously, for amateur and the portions of the part of the play, right? But the guy you always think of, how much money would Tim Tebow have made from his name, image, and likeness at the time? How much money would Peyton Manning have made, right? Well, I look at these two different trajectories. I mean, Tim's fine. He's done well. We're so proud of where he's at now. But he's made that money on other platforms, not playing football. It worked out for Peyton, right? Peyton's got $250,000 that he made playing. So these guys, when you're hot and everybody else is profiting on you, absolutely should have been able to have some compensation for their name.
And I think those are great examples. And I'll go the 180. Like Brock Berlin, Bobby Sablehouse, those guys could have made life-changing money, but they weren't able to. And they didn't work out in college, but they were, as prospects,
Great point.
I mean, as 5-star as it comes, they could have made at least some money before they even got to college, and then it didn't work out in college, but at least they would have had something as they built their life. And obviously, they didn't have that. So, I mean, certainly for the guys that end up being superstars, it's great that they can cash in early. But frankly, from a life standpoint, it's nice for the player that this is it. He's as good as he's going to be when he's 17, and he's not going to develop anymore, or he's not going to pick the right school or whatever he's going to get hurt. It's nice that those guys can at least get some value for their skill before it's expired.
No doubt about it. And the reason we've got to embrace it now is it's happening, right? The money's going to go to them, but are they going to structure these things the right way from a tax perspective? Are they going to get with professionals who they know, like, and trust and can count on? That's what we're worried about. Right now, if we're going to go out and give a 16 or 17-year-old, if I settle a significant lawsuit for a minor, I have to go to the court and I have to get it approved by the court because it's the child settlement, not the parents. And so when you look here at this lawsuit, that's the one other thing I thought, hey, mom's having a sue to go in and do this. And hey, the overwhelming majority of parents are going to look out for these kids, right? But there's going to be some other instances where they don't. And so we're not going to address the rules. We're not going to get out in front of it. That's just going to hurt people on the next wave because you're right. They should get compensated, but now we want them to keep that compensation. We all heard what Fred Taylor went through with Tank Black, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, that's he's done all right, but I'll tell you what, if he had that money, he'd be in a much different place right now, and it's just wrong. But he went to somebody young and impressionable at the time, and they pulled one over on him.
People should be able to be paid their worth. Brett Hastings, great work as always from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. I've asked you this question before. Let me ask you again. If a fan can sue his team for undue pain and suffering, I don't know if you've changed your opinion on that or not, but the Pittsburgh Pirates have allowed 41 runs to the Cubs. They blew a 10-3 lead today and lost 14-10. If you change your mind about that, will you let me know?
I
will sue them.
But okay, I just want you to know, there's a doctrine called assumption of the risk. Okay. And when you choose to be a Pirates fan, you know it's a long, long road.
It's
okay?
that damn assumption of risk is going to wipe me out.
Sell out like everybody else and get you a Yankees hat, and it'll be a pretty fun ride,
Brett, great work, buddy. We appreciate it. Hayes has headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harrell & Harrell. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harrell & Harrell at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Hey, folks, if you're looking for an automobile, this summer, happiness is a brand new Chevy. Like a new Chevy Silverado from Nimnik Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado. For well-qualified buyers, you can get rates as low as 1.9% financing on all new Silverado 1500 models. With the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnik Chevrolet. Now remember, Nimnik will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $2,250 in trade assistance. What a great deal that is. And ask about our demo models for even deeper discounts. Shop online 24/7 at nimnikchevy.com or visit the dealership, conveniently located at the corner of Park and Cassett. Who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnik.
Joe C for Hard Rock Bet. It's the sports book for every kind of player. Straightforward, simple enough for the first-time bettor, but built with all the features experienced players expect. Plus, try it now. If your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $100. Easy deposits and fast withdrawals. PayPal, Venmo, and more. All you have to do to get started is download the Hard Rock Bet app. Go online, hardrock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and there's nothing quite like the ease and breeze of First Coast summers. Unless, that is, you have a clogged drain or your hot water heater doesn't work. But that's where the experts at Fenwick Home Services have you covered. Fenwick offers 24/7 same-day service and can fix any plumbing problem you have. With free same-day estimates and guaranteed repairs, the pros at Fenwick Home Services get the job done right and get it done right the first time. You can also save on future emergencies with $50 off any repair. Click it or call day or night. FenwickHomeservices.com.
This is Chelsea with Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. Here's what people are saying about working with us.
Installers were professional, courteous, and efficient.
Great customer service. On time, explained the process, and walked me through the installation. Amazing team.
Our experience with Renewal by Anderson was outstanding from the beginning to end.
Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com.
License number CGC 1527613.
Renewal by Anderson, custom windows and doors.
Welcome to ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner and home to Xerox and HP copiers. From IT management to VoIP phone systems, Advanced Business Solutions is the right name to know.
The Drill takes you inside the ropes with PGA Tour insiders on Brunch with the Tour.
Yeah, that's a good spot to be.
Tuesday morning at 8:30.
Brought to you by
Clearwater Irrigation. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
The latest in innovative imaging technology is at Ackerman Cancer Center. With total body MRI, PET, and CT scans, plus 3D mammography, offers unparalleled precision in cancer detection. Schedule your screening now at AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Lowe's knows saving pros time and money means getting the job done easier. Right now, get up to 50% off select composite decking and railing. Plus, get an extra 5% off every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's business credit card. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. 5% off or subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store at Lowe's.com/credit for details.
This is Dr. James Perry, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Having players that are able to play multiple positions is one of the most helpful ways to get the most versatility out of a limited roster. That is something that General Manager Trent Baalke values when it comes to selecting talent. Here's Baalke on how versatility is important.
The more guys can do, the more flexible your roster is, the more things you can do, and numbers-wise, and where you count guys and stuff like that. So it does give you flexibility. So you're always looking for guys that can O-line, D-line, multiple position guys, linebackers that can play two positions in special teams. The more they can do, the better off it is for us in terms of the roster building.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie, JJ LaSalva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, no players that the Jaguars released were claimed, so the practice squad, pretty easy to assemble.
Yeah,
14 guys that we're familiar with, and they'll add 2 more.
And a handful of pretty good players. I mean, they're all good players. In the end, you wouldn't be in an NFL camp if you weren't a pretty good player. But, I mean, a handful of guys I think that can help them. Elijah Cooks, if they have a receiver go down, is a great guy to bring up. I believe that. So is Tremble, too, by the way. So I think they're good there. I really believe. Christian Braswell can play defensive back in the NFL. I believe that. There's a handful of guys. DJ Coleman, I think, can help them. So there's a handful of guys on that practice squad, in my opinion, Hayes, that if called into action could help the NFL team win a football game. I really believe it.
Absolutely. Jaguars offensive coordinator Press Taylor met with reporters today and was asked if Trevor Lawrence is headed towards a big jump and said, look, he was headed there last year prior to the injury. He says, absolutely, expect a season of massive improvement for Trevor Lawrence.
You know what I think? I think Trevor's going to have a gigantic year. I think a gigantic year. I love his receiver room. I love the running backs he can throw it to. I think the things Trevor knows he has to be better at. Don't force things which turn into turnovers. Don't hold the ball too long, which can become a turnover or an injury. I think he is focused so much on that I don't think you'll see the same mistakes. I think he's a smart guy. He's still a young player. He's still 24. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a big year. I agree with Press Taylor.
Defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen also spoke with reporters and said defensive lineman Eric Armstead will line up all over the place.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. When he got here, we thought a defensive tackle was going to line up next to Devon Hamilton and play in front of Roy Robertson Harris. Then you heard murmurs and whispers that he's going to play outside some, and will he be the third end behind Josh Hines, Allen, and Trayvon Walker? I think the real answer is what Ryan said today, Hayes. I think the real answer is there's no telling where he's going to line up, and that's good because the other team doesn't know where to block. I think the fact that he didn't play at all in the preseason adds to the mystery of it, adds to the intrigue and the question in the mind of the opponents because they don't really know what the Jags are going to do with him. You can know what he did in the past. You can know what the Jags are trying to do, but there's no way of knowing what the Jags are going to do with him because no one's seen him.
Absolutely. Looking around the NFL, the Steelers will start Russell Wilson at quarterback, Mike Tomlin going with the veteran over Justin Fields.
Yeah, I've always been a Russell Wilson fan, way bigger Russell Wilson fan than I was a Justin Fields fan. But I got to tell you, I don't think their line's very good. Other than Pickens, I don't think their receivers are very good. With Warren out, I don't think their running backs are very good. I think Najee Harris is just okay. I almost wonder if you should go with the other guy, because what Russell Wilson needs is a traditional stuff to be a good quarterback. I've told you this before. I don't think they're going to be very good. On defense, they'll be good. I don't think they'll be very good on offense. I would be mildly surprised if the Steelers, they'll have their winning record because they always do. They'll be 9-8 or whatever. But I'd be mildly surprised if they're among the elite of the AFC at any time.
The Cowboys have signed running back Dalvin Cook, the former FSU legend. The 29-year-old Cook did little last season, though, in stints with the Jets and Ravens, so we'll see what he can be for Dallas.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. I thought he would have a long career in the NFL, and he hasn't. I'm glad he's still getting a chance to continue to play. What a fantastic college player he was.
Rams coach Sean McVay says running back Kyren Williams will be the team's punt returner. This has drawn some raised eyebrows in the fantasy football world, as Kyren Williams scored 15 touchdowns last season and had over 1,300 yards of total offense. The Rams selected Blake Corum in the third round, the talented rookie out of Michigan. So there's worry that Kyren Williams may be losing that big-time role.
Yeah, maybe. I think he's too good not to play a lot. I don't think they're locked into anything yet. Yeah, I think there's a little smoke and mirrors going on here, maybe some gamesmanship from Sean McVay. Kyren Williams is going to get the football. When you have a guy that finds the end zone, you give him the football.
San Francisco is still dealing with the absences of left tackle Trent Williams and receiver Brandon Ayuk. But Jets coach Robert Saleh still expects to see the pair when the teams meet to open the season on Monday night, September 9th.
They can't possibly have any rhythm with Ayuk. Trent Williams is a little bit different. He's a left tackle. He's got to block the edge. But quarterbacks and receivers need rhythm together. I can't imagine. Would you be surprised if they played?
I think they'll play. I don't know how. To me, it's a hamstring injury waiting to happen for Ayuk.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That Ayuk story has really been an odd one the entire time. It really has.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's get it to college football. Billy Napier talked with reporters on the SEC teleconference and says this has been quarterback Graham Mertz's team since day one of the offseason, and that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
He said that to me in Dallas. He said he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He believes that. He really likes Mertz. Mertz is a guy a coach would love. Works hard, great leader, selfless, first guy in the film room, last guy to leave it, smart, picks up things very quickly. You know my feeling on this. My fear with Mertz is he's a thin, frail guy that got hurt badly last year, albeit toward the end of the year. And they got in with a very iffy offensive line against a lot of really good defensive teams. Can they keep him healthy? If they do, I think the Gators are going to have a good year, and he's going to have a very good year.
Florida State released its depth chart for Monday night's game against Boston College. No major changes, really. But boy, Frank, when you think about it, what a put-up or shut-up game coming for that FSU defensive line. If Boston College pushes them around, that will be shocking based on the dismal performance in the opener against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, the group was probably overhyped a little bit. The hype came because all four guys look like they'll be NFL players and maybe high draft picks, but that doesn't mean you play together very well. I think all four guys, even the tackles, are ultimately better pass rushers than they are run defenders. I mean, even the tackles. I think Jackson and Farmer are like that. Obviously, the ends.
They do
like
look
that.
light.
They look correct. And so and again, you're facing another running team and another running quarterback, so it'll be interesting to watch.
Mike Norvell said today that the Georgia Tech helmet communication system went down during the game, so Florida State had to turn its off too. Norvell said, look, that's just part of the game. He didn't use it as an excuse or anything, but it got me thinking, boy, that is going to be potentially a massive storyline Saturday with this huge slate of important games.
See, I think this when I saw that story. Yeah, it's a pain, but I think college teams are way more equipped to handle that than pro teams because they're used to giving signals. Pro teams haven't given signals in many, many years because they've had the helmet communication. college teams have been giving signals. I know there's all the worry about someone stealing your signals, but college teams have been calling offensive and defensive plays by signals for years. So their backup plan ought to be pretty easy, unlike the pro team. So I don't think that's a major deal. Not yet anyway. 5 or 6 years from now, when there's not a rotation of players, a cycle of players who have ever gotten a signal, then it'll be different.
Good point. Let's get into Major League Baseball. Former Gator Pete Alonso homered last night to tie Mike Piazza for third on the team's career home run list with 220. The 29-year-old Alonso needs 33 more to surpass Darryl Strawberry for most in Mets history.
Yeah, I think he will. 252, I think, is Strawberry's number. And when I saw that today, as you did, it really got my attention. Barring, now listen, they got to keep him. There was some talk they were going to move on from him. But barring that, he'll do it next year. I mean, he's gonna pass Darryl Strawberry by the time he's 30 years old, and if he stays a Met, he may hang numbers that nobody will ever touch. It's a New York Met,
without a doubt. We'll get it to media. Nick Saban has a hilarious ad out for Verbo, where he plays an overbearing host. JJ, do we have a clip?
Check-in time is 3.
It's 2:55.
I know.
Is this what he's doing now?
Have a seat. As your host, I have some rules. First, no showers longer than 5 minutes. This isn't a spa. There's no streaming, only cable television.
Any games for the kids?
No games, no fun. The kids aren't even allowed in the house. That's the rule. There's a great barbecue outside, but don't touch that. How'd you guys get inside? 2 flush maximum per bathroom visit.
Yes, Coach.
You guys got about 10 minutes because this is daddy time in the tub.
He's in the hot tub at the end of it.
That is so funny.
It is so great.
And that is, listen, he's going to be a megastar at this stuff. If he stays with it and decides this is what he's going to do, because he's just self-deprecating enough. He's just funny enough that he can really pull off that. You see, Bob Knight could never pull it off.
No.
He tried to a few times. This will be hilarious.
How about what if everybody wants to remake movies. What if we remade Lethal Weapon with Nick Saban and Peyton Manning?
Oh, I'm in. Where do I sign up?
I've got your money?
Where do I sign
All right,
up?
good.
Yes, you do.
Very good. We will keep it with pop culture. A tribute today to actor Chadwick Boseman, who died on this day 4 years ago from colon cancer. He was just 43 years old. The gifted performer played Black Panther and Jackie Robinson, an amazing actor, and it really makes you think of all the great work he would have done.
How good was he? And I don't watch the Marvel movies as much. And how good was he as Jackie Robinson? He had some other good roles too, by the way. But how amazingly convincing of all the trials and tribulations that Jackie Robinson went through. How amazingly was he in depicting that? You felt it, didn't you?
Absolutely.
You really felt like it was real, the anger and the emotion. A great actor, gone way too early.
Absolutely. We will get you out on our musical note of the day. Oasis is reuniting. The brothers Noel and Liam Gallagher have ended their 15-year feud and have announced a world tour. Many believe this would never happen. Oasis has sold over 75 million albums worldwide. This is, of course, Wonderwall.
I didn't know there was a feud.
Big feud.
Is that right?
I think, yeah. I mean, they were always.
Is that a big deal?
If you like Oasis, yeah. I
No,
mean,
they're great. They're a great band.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no, it's a huge deal in music that they're reuniting. Yeah, I mean, it'll be one of those things that, like, they're going to start the world tour in Europe, but when they come over here, it will be, like, one of the bigger tours of 2025, for sure. Yeah, so there you go.
Well done. Our first State Farm College football report of the year. Shane Matthews, Tom Block, Joe Zagacki. That's next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
I remember being in the backyard, getting the football and throwing it up and running and go catch it. And then I'd be like for the crowd, and like, that's what I wanted to do. And I got an opportunity to do it.
1010XL.
This is what you dream of.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
When you're a little kid on the playground, they tell you don't hit back. Well, the courtroom isn't a playground. And if you've suffered an injury or death in your family, I'm here to tell you it's okay to hit back and fight to make them pay. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we understand all the pain and emotion that comes with being wrong. And we've dedicated our lives to making things right for people like you. So if you get hit back with Hastings Injury Law. Offices, Jacksonville.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Oh, no.
You okay in there?
Toilet's backed up. It won't flush.
Okay, I'll call the pros.
The tank isn't filling. The handle does nothing. Run for your life.
Don't be so dramatic. Duck Rooter will fix it.
For any plumbing issue, call Duck Rooter, your local plumbing professionals and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Homeowners, good news for you. Accent on 4. Listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Prosser here. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted. So low, we haven't seen them in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.99% APR. So whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in process with another lender, stop now. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days, with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Call 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Owner approved credit, MLSconsumeraccess.org.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
Hey there, all you fun-loving sports maniacs, a.k.a. taco lovers. Don here from Taco Lou. I'm quite proud to say that we have the best staff in all of Duval.
Don't you mean Louval?
Say hello to Lizzie.
Hello, Jacksonville.
I suppose I do mean Louval. Say, Liz, what's your favorite cocktail to make?
The Double Barrel Margarita. It's Herradura, Tequila Reposado, Orange Liqueur, Orange Juice, and our homemade sour mix. We call it Lou Brew. Give it a good shake and serve.
Well, thanks, Lizzie.
Come in and hang with me at the bar. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home all week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Tonight is ViStar Good as Everywhere Wednesday. Tomorrow is Coors Light Thirsty Thursday with beer specials. Then it's Red Shirt Friday with fireworks, and the first 2,000 fans on Saturday get a strap bag. Plus more fireworks Saturday and Sunday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Oh, Gators, Canes, Georgia, Clemson, LSU, USC, Florida State, Georgia Tech, and, of course, Jaguars, Dolphins. It is here, and are you ready for the ultimate football season? Using MyBookie's sportsbook and casino platform, you can bet on every game and win anytime, anywhere, straight from your mobile device. No app needed. Just click my link, sign up, and you're ready to rock. When you bet with MyBookie, you're not just watching the games, you're investing in every moment of action. I'll say it from experience, a few bucks on the line can turn any regular game into one of the most exciting of the season because you don't have to bet very much. Don't forget to use promo code 1010XL when signing up to claim a $1,000 bonus on your first deposit. Again, promo code 1010XL. Get that bonus. Don't let that pass you by. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Jumbo Shrimp fell to the Norfolk Tides 4-3 in last night's series opener. The Shrimp are in dire need of a victory after dropping 4 of their last 5. They will send right-handed pitcher Adam Mazur out on the mound tonight with first pitch at 7:05 at 121 Financial Ballpark. Miami head coach Mario Cristobal is not letting the buzz ahead of their season opener distract his players from the goal in front of them. His guys are locked in on the task at hand and treating this game as they would any other one.
I know there's a ton of juice and excitement surrounding the game or whatnot, but we've been working for a long, long time in preparation, not only for this game, but for the season, but certainly starts with the University of Florida.
Kickoff is set for 3:30 Saturday in the Swamp. It's 87 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the State Farm College Football Report with Shane Matthews on the Gators, Tom Block on the Noles, and Joe Zagacki on the Canes. Presented by your local State Farm agent.
All right, let's get right to it. We'll start with the Gators. State Farm agents Ron McCann, Mike Tozel, Caitlin Duggar, Jason Judy, Catherine Boustert sponsored the report, and Shane Matthews joins us, my buddy from the Gator Radio Network. The two-time SEC Player of the Year when he was a Gator joins us now. Shane, how are you, man?
I'm good, Frank. How are you, my man?
We are great. All right, the big question, before we get into the details of the game, how much, in your opinion, how much better is this Florida team, Shane, than last year's team? It's an older team. Billy thinks it's his best roster. You see him practice. How much better are they?
Light years better. They just look different. More athletes, Frank. They look like a SEC team. Time will tell, but it's the most talented team that he's had in his 3 years here. In my opinion, I think I said this last year, it's all going to come down to how the front seven on defense performs this year to have the type of year we want to have.
Shane, let's just follow up on that. What are your expectations for the Gators defense?
Well, I like the guys they've added in the portal. Pup Howard from South Carolina, Asa Turner from Washington, Joey Slackman from the Ivy League, and there's others that I failed to mention. But, Rob Roberts coming over to help run the defense. He's been around the league for a long time. I just think they look like a better defense. And I love the secondary. I think their corners are NFL-type corners. A lot of people disagree with me. But Devin Moore and Jason Marshall Jr. are long, and they can play. We just got to play well up front, stuff the run as well as we can, and pressure the quarterback. Just get them off their spot. We don't have to sack them. We just can't give them all day to throw the football.
Shane, everybody knows the story. Billy on the hot seat and the brutal schedule. And how much will the emotion or the psychology of that affect this team? Any at all? Is that overrated, or is there something there?
I think it's overrated. They got great leadership from the players. They got some veteran-type guys. I mean, Graham Mertz in his 6th year. He's a pro, man. And then, you got a guy, Asa Turner, who's played a lot of football on the defensive side of the ball. This team, I try to tell everybody, embrace the schedule. How many times have people called your shows over the years, Frank, complaining about the North Central whatever coming to play or the Charleston Southerns? Look, it's a great schedule. And just because teams had great records last year or good teams doesn't mean they're going to – look at FSU. I don't think they're anywhere close to what they were last year. It was one game, but they're not even close to the team they were last year. I think Florida's a lot better than they were last year, and I think a lot of teams they play this year won't be quite as good as they were last year.
From your quarterback expertise, you and Coach Spurrier were brilliant in your first year together, but what was the difference? What were some things you guys were able to do in year two that Graham Mertz and Billy Napier will be able to do that maybe they couldn't last year?
Well, it's a different type of system. I mean, Coach Spurrier just had a tremendous system that he taught so well, and we all understood it. I don't know if the last couple of years we've been somewhat methodical on offense because we were so concerned about giving the ball back to the opposing team because we were historically bad on defense. So I'm hoping we open it up a little bit more, and I've seen that in practice. Now we just got to do it in games. I'm a big proponent of 8 deep balls a game, whether it's go route, post, wheels, corners, whatever it is. You hit 2 or 3, it's a damn good day. The other time, you're probably going to get pass interference in today's football.
Shane's always said that. Throw it down the field 7 or 8 times, you're going to hit a few of them. Shane Matthews checking in. It's going to be a fun day in Gainesville. Shane Matthews from the Gator Radio Network. Thanks, Shane.
Yes, sir. See you guys. Take care.
All right, let's move from Gainesville to Tallahassee. Tom Block is up from the Seminole Radio Network. His report is brought to you by State Farm agents Craig Dewhurst, Ramey Alaboo, Marky Williams, Scott Hobson, Brandon Thomas, Tiffany Mapp, and Randy Taylor. Tom, we don't start very many like this, but I'm surprised FSU didn't play better. How shocked were you that did it win as badly as it did against Georgia Tech?
I was pretty shocked. Not that they lost, but that they didn't play better. I think Georgia Tech's probably a little bit better than people want to give them credit for. They played Georgia really well at the end of the last year, and they played well on Saturday, so you got to credit Georgia Tech. But, yeah, I was surprised both sides of the ball that Florida State wasn't a little bit more buttoned up. Offensively, they were conservative. I like what Shane just said about taking 8 deep shots a game. Florida State, maybe threw 2 balls downfield, and Georgia Tech just loaded up against the run. So I think that'll be one of the adjustments. So they got to find a way to trust DJ a little bit more. And defensively, it looked like a team that had not – it was 2 things. It was very poor tackling effort, and then it looked like a team that they didn't trust themselves in terms of familiarity with the system because it's a lot of new guys, or they didn't trust the guy next to them. But either way, it led to being a step slow, too much thinking, not enough reacting. So I think a lot of it's correctable, but it certainly was pretty eye-opening that that's the way the season started.
Tom, what are some things Boston College might be able to do that are a concern?
Well, they got a mobile quarterback that gave him fits last year, and based on what Haynes King just did last week, I would say it starts with that. That's probably the primary concern, I would say, defensively, is how do you deal with Castellanos. But I know that the cliche is the improvement you make between game 1 and game 2 and all that. But I do think while Florida State will have a good plan for BC, I think a lot of this is things. I mean, they got to go back, self-scout, do a better job with what they're trying to execute offensively. And defensively, they just have to be more fundamentally sound. They got to, mind their gaps, do what they're supposed to do, make the tackles, because collectively the parts are a lot better from 1 to 85 or however many guys are on the roster these days, right? Than what they were the last few years, but it certainly didn't show like that last Saturday.
Tom, what do you think of DJ Uiagalelei? Obviously, a lot of pressure on him. There was some magic from Jordan Travis that the next guy was going to have trouble matching no matter who the next guy was. But DJ's well-traveled. To your point a moment ago, they didn't go down the field with him very much. Is that a lack of trust? Was he checking down? What are your expectations for DJ, Tom, as he moves forward?
Yeah, I think that's the real question. You can look at it and say Florida State was overconfident that they were going to be able to have success running the football, or did they lack confidence in leaning on DJ to throw the football? I will say that the drive that they tied the game at 21-all in the fourth quarter, I thought DJ was very good on that drive. They converted a 3rd down and 2 4th downs, and the receivers who have been much maligned in fall camp made all the plays. It's not a game where you look back and say, well, the receiver drops were the issue, because that was not the issue. Now, that said, he's never been a magical guy. He's not been a Houdini. He's not been a Jordan Travis. But I think he's a guy that you can win with. I also think he's a guy that could run the football a little bit, too. Not the way Jordan does, but you can run some quarterback power or do some things. They've got to get ahead of the chains. They've got to get more creative. And this was an issue last year, too, when Travis really was pretty reluctant to run and then ironically got hurt running the football. they faced a lot of 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 8 last year, and that's not where you want to live. I think this offensive line is better. I think they have a very good running back group, and I don't want to use the word serviceable because I think he's better than that. I just don't think he's dynamic necessarily, but I think there's enough pieces that they can get better offensively.
Tom, what will the environment be like on Monday night? Give us a rundown. They're renovating the stadium, so what's sort of the capacity and give us an idea of what it's going to look like?
Yeah, so that's interesting. So obviously they'll show it on TV, but it's the home side of the stadium. So as you're watching live action, the stadium will look the way it's looked every time you watch it, because that side is unaffected. The visitor sideline's unaffected. I mean, they made a few tweaks there in terms of ADA compliance and accessible ramps and did a few things with the seats, but that part's not going to look different. But when they show the reverse angle, if you will, they have temporary seating that's going to seat 7,000 on that side, which means I'm not sure what row, but it's basically ground level to maybe row 30. There's some temporary seating, and then row 30 to row 75 or however high it's going up until the boxes. That's just nothing right now. I mean, it's the foundation is there to lay the permanent seats, but it's not in, and I don't even know that they've dressed that up and put FSU on it or anything like that. So definitely going to be different. The capacity overall, I want to say is 45-ish, 45 to 50 maybe right now, because they're down all those seats. So it will be different. Now, the good news is they are tracking on schedule to be completely done next year at this time when they open, and who knows how this will change with the conference landscape. But as of right now, they're scheduled to open at home against Alabama next year, so they got to have the stadium ready for that.
Tom Block checking in from the Seminole Radio Network. Thank you, Tom.
You bet, guys.
All right, let's head down to Coral Gables. My pal Joe Zagacki is a terrific play-by-play voice of the Miami Hurricanes. His report is brought to you by State Farm agents Joe McGee and Gene Coleman. Joe, how are you? Are you on the beach somewhere? What are you doing? Laying down? What are you doing?
I am not on the beach, Frank. It is raining here in South Florida, so I have in front of my eyes the Miami Florida Gators chart that I use on game day, and I'm doing a little research, a little studying here.
All right, you're already working. I like it. Hey, Miami, which has had more good quarterbacks than anybody ever, has not had good quarterback play in a long time, in my opinion. But you might have somebody really special now. Cam Ward was so good last year. I think he's the player in the portal that everybody wanted, and Miami got him. What have you seen at practice? What is the scuttlebutt? What are your expectations for Cam Ward? Not just on Saturday, we'll get to that, but this season.
My expectations are for him to lead Miami to a great season, and he has said everything right in spring. He has said everything and done everything right in the summer, and now he's got to go and perform. I think he's got a better supporting cast with the University of Miami than he had at Washington State. Washington State, my only concern is he was 12-13. He was under 500 as a starting quarterback there. But when he goes into the swamp, it'll be his 45th career start. He's got an excellent touchdown to interception ratio, dangerous when he runs the football. And the thing I really like about him, Frank, and you'll see this in the game, when he decides to let it fly, he lets it go. He is very decisive in his decision-making, and he throws a great pass. I watched him, some of his film at Washington State. He landed a pass at Washington State against Washington. I thought, how the hell did he do that? I was on the practice field this morning, and he did the same thing. So he lands a great deep ball. He's really decisive with his decisions. He's got to be a great player for Miami.
Joe, do you feel like Miami matches up better than Florida in the trenches on both sides of the ball?
Well, I don't know if they match up better than Florida, but I would say they are equal to Florida. And whoever wins that matchup probably wins the game. It's probably also the first time that Miami's gone into one of these opening games against Florida or LSU or Alabama where I've looked at it and said, okay, all right, the playing field is level. Now go out and execute. I look at Miami's roster. I look at Florida's roster. Florida's got a ton of talent. They can't go crying wolf on, oh, woe is me, we don't have talent. They've got plenty of talent, as does Miami. A lot of 4- and 5-star players across the board. And for the first time in a long time, Miami on their defensive line, they look like what the University of Miami is supposed to look like.
Joe, I asked Shane the same question. I'm going to ask it of you as well. I don't want to say hot seat. It's not a hot seat yet. But there have been questions about both Billy Napier and Mario Cristobal. Things didn't go quite as well the first 2 years. Does that seep into the players, or is that overrated? They just go play. I mean, we all feel it. We're in the media. We see Twitter and whatnot. Will that affect Miami this season, in your opinion?
I don't think it will affect him unless, things go sideways here early in the season.
Right.
He's 12-13. That's what his record is. You could look at it this way. In his first year, he got crushed by Clemson and Florida State. Last year, he beat Clemson and had Florida State on the ropes. Probably should have won that game. There were a couple of questionable plays in that game. Should have beat Georgia Tech. So 1-7 last year. Could have won 9 with a roster that's not as good as this roster. I don't think he's on the hot seat in any way. I do believe that Miami feels like as a program that they've got to win. They got to improve themselves. Tom said we don't know what's going to happen with the conference. Well, Miami, like everybody else, they want to be in a position that if it does collapse, that they're right there. Someone will like them. And so I think over the next couple of years, Miami, they're playing for their next contract, wherever that might be.
Joe, tell us about Miami's ground game. What do you expect to see?
I think that's a storyline that's gone a little bit under the radar. Damian Martinez comes in from Oregon State. He is an excellent running back. Led the Pac-12 last year in 100-yard games. Had 12 100-yard games in 2 years at Oregon State. Ran for 1,100 yards last season, 9 touchdowns. You can't tackle this guy. I'm glad he's on Miami's side, because this is the kind of running back that Miami hasn't tackled in 10 years. He is a bruiser, but he is also fast enough to get to the end zone. Florida will have their hands full with him. There could be a lot of swinging and missing. He makes guys miss, and then he was top 5 in the country a year ago in yards after contact. I don't know what Fletcher's status is going to be, but if Fletcher can go with Martinez, that gives Miami 2 bruising running backs, and I think a really good run game.
Florida, Miami in the Swamp, 3:30 on Saturday afternoon. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun. Joe Zagacki, the terrific play-by-play voice of the Miami Hurricanes. Thank you, Joe.
All right, Frank, thank you.
All right, that is the State Farm College Football Report. Shane Matthews talking Gator football. Tom Block talking about the Noles. Joe Zagacki talking about the Canes. What a week it's going to be. And that is the State Farm College Football Report. More in a moment. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
The action. The motion.
You see that acceleration.
Feel the active emotion of live play-by-play.
It's amazing how much energy.
On 1010XL.
Imagine driving a late model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Now, any good lineup needs power. When I needed a power connection for our new Walk-Off Charities baseball park, I found the perfect partner in Ricketts Electric. You're going to love these guys, I'm telling you. The Ricketts family has been providing commercial and residential electric service for years. So call my buddy Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960, and you can find them on Facebook as well. You will trust them. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them today at 320-5960.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold and Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold and Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Big Chief Tire makes auto care affordable with 6-month financing on their CFNA card, plus $50 off your next service. Frank Frangie here. With no interest for 6 months, now is the perfect time to take care of your vehicle. Whether you need new tires, brakes, or general checkup, their skilled technicians have you covered. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to learn more and schedule an appointment at one of their 5 locations. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
College football is coming. Celebrating another season of college football.
This should be fun to watch.
1010XL's college kickoff coverage is brought to you by Jenkins Genesis of Northeast Florida and Island Oaks RV Park.
Let's do it on 1010XL. Come on.
This is Keith Scott with Veterans Wholesale Cabinets. We are Northeast Florida's cabinet experts and your best option to elevate your home improvement project for both homeowners and contractors, and attention to detail to every project. VeteransWholesaleCabinets.com.
It's the best time of the year again. It's football season, and with football season here, fantasy football has arrived. And forget the season-long leagues. Underdog Fantasy and the Underdog Fantasy app is the way to go. I've been playing it now for almost a year, and it is just suits me to a T. First of all, it's simple, right? Just choose higher or lower on statistical projections, or compete against others in player-v-player fantasy games. Either way, there's so many options. There's research there on the site. It's easy to use, and right now, you can get a little bit extra. That's right. Go to the mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code PROSSER. They're going to give you a special to use on your first contest and a deposit offer. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PROSSER, and claim your new customer offer. Do it right now, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Got to be 18 or over, got to be present in the state where it's played, and call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org if you have a problem.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots and the first treatment now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Don't ignore plumbing leaks. They can lead to mold and mildew or structural damage and drain your wallet. So when you have a leak and can't wait a week, call Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
I'm Ben from Beard's Diamonds. My father and I buy our stones direct from the diamond cutters. No middleman, no big company overhead, no commission salespeople, and we pass the savings on to you. Before you buy anywhere else, remember, Beard's Diamonds will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com. 1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Ricketts Electric Wednesday on The Frangie Show. Ricketts Electric, the power connection you can trust.
When are you heading down to Gainesville? Saturday morning?
Yeah, I think so.
Time getting on the road?
I would think like 10:30.
Yeah.
Something like that. Sounds
Getting
right.
down, hanging out with the Heralds?
Yeah. Yeah.
Word on the street?
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
I mean, I can't wait. Can you imagine, though, Saturday morning in North Central Florida in Greater Ocala, get the Casa La Selva, Mom La Selva making grits, maybe some egg, the bacon. Can you imagine? They wake up. Can you imagine that? Little bacon strips, some biscuits.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Blake La Selva rooting for the Gators, but she's got to be careful. I mean, she'll
exactly
maybe have a Gator, maybe a little face paint. You think? And the two other friends in the car also Gators.
Unfortunately, yes.
All pom-poms.
3 Gators.
Oh, wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall there? Yes. That morning, a little coffee in the morning. Any trash talk in the morning or no?
Yeah, I mean, there's been trash talk for 4 years since I met Blake. So, yes, and with my buddy who I've known since, like, the 5th grade. Yeah. So, absolutely, there will be. Now, on the ride back, they are more respectful than I am. Okay. So, like, Gators win big, it'll probably be, like, them maybe not trying to rub it in so bad. But if it's the other way around, they already know what time it is.
I can't wait. Can you imagine? Wouldn't you love a GoPro in that car?
Oh, I'm
just a GoPro right on the visor.
Sore winner. I'm the worst winner.
You strike me as that. I kind of respect. I kind of respect it, to be honest.
That's the thing. Come 7:30 Saturday night, one of those two fan bases is going to be in agony,
and one will be elated.
And one will be elated, no doubt about it. But there will be no in between. It will be either. Because if you're a Florida fan and you lose, it's like, oh, how bad is this season going to be? Is this really going to be like a 3-9
home game? The schedule
embarrassment.
And if it's us, it's like, wow, all this hype. This kid was supposed to be an awesome quarterback. Now is Mario even the guy? Like,
that's right.
I mean, it is just a brutal loss for whoever takes it.
This is wake up in here. It's on when you wake up.
Yeah,
that's how this one's on when you wake up. You know, I mean, how about that? What do you expect from not this game? I mean, this game part of it. What do you expect from Cam Ward 12 games later? What do you think he will have been?
Cam Ward will be the best player in the ACC.
See, I think so too. I think he's going to be so good. I think he's electrifying. I think he was on a bad team up there. That's why he didn't have a lot of wins. I think he will be Jordan Travis-like. Jordan Travis changed games. That's my biggest fear about my alma mater playing your team is him.
I think you're right, but I don't think it'll be this week.
Yeah.
You know, like it you know, obviously it's not the NFL. You don't have these preseason games, joint practices, whatever. So I expect him to be that. Yeah, you're right. But I don't necessarily think they're going to rely on that and his playmaking ability in week 1 in the swamp. I think they're going to run the hell out of the ball. I think they're going to try to do what they can on the ground to take away the crowd, take away the clock, and rely on this big-ass offensive line that's supposed to be one of the best in the nation. So I do agree. I think Cam Ward eventually will be, if not the best player in the ACC, one of the top few. But this week, I don't think so. I don't think that's the game plan.
Yeah, and listen, I've said, when we'll talk about more in our picks on Friday, I think Florida's going to win the game. But I would pick Miami if the game was at Miami. I just think it's that game. I think it's that game. And I think Graham Mertz is going to have a terrific year. I think he's going to be a very good player being what he is. But I think Cam Ward might have just in that league against that schedule, if they can get it going, you know, I mean, I think
and they have some playmakers.
That's what I was going to say. I like his
the wide
weapons.
receivers, the 2 wide receivers. George is good. This one kid from Houston, I guess, or one of the schools in Texas that he's a transfer. Apparently, he's really good. Obviously, I haven't seen him play. But then Restrepo, we all know him. Like, the kid's been around, I feel like, for 10 years at this point. He's an absolute beast. So, and the running backs. So I expect him to have plenty to throw to this season.
Yeah, I like Shannon Dawson, the coordinator. Is highly regarded. He's a spread the field attack guy. He's the latest in the whole Holgerson, Lynch, Lincoln Riley. He's in that pedigree, Hayes. So they're going to throw it around a lot. The one thing that gives me a little pause for them and gives me a little confidence for Saturday, to JJ's point, it may not happen this week, I can only imagine how loud that thing's going to be. And how loud it's going to be for a quarterback playing for a team for the first time against who knows if Florida's any good. But I do know the swamp is loud. I do know. And I think, by the way, Miami only got 4,000.
Saw that.
I saw it was only a fourth. That's changed. Back in the day, I can tell you, the Florida-Tennessee contract, 10-5.
Well, the SEC has different rules.
Is it changed now?
No, I'm saying like
they have to have a certain allotment.
But back in the day when I covered the Gators and was on the network, both the Tennessee and FSU contracts with Florida called for 10-5. And everything else called for 8,500. But it was 10-5 for Tennessee and 10-5 for FSU, and both ways, by the way. They reciprocated that too, and all the contracts were different. I assumed Miami would be 10-12 would be the contract.
I think that's like a little overrated of a thing because like I didn't buy the tickets through Miami.
Tickets.
You know, like nobody.
You're right.
Most people are just like buying tickets from a third-party website.
Yeah, and now you can.
Yeah.
20 years ago,
exactly,
they weren't available. Nobody sold their tickets.
The one thing that I think is going to be interesting with the Swamp on Saturday is with the helmet communication. Normally, at the Swamp and everywhere, you really get noisy once the offense gets to the line. Now, particularly if I was Cristobal, I would tell Cam Ward, don't put your hands up to your helmet to block it. Just, don't give them that, because if they, like Haynes King did it.
That's a great point.
He did it throughout the game. It didn't really matter because, yes, FSU had more of the crowd, but it was a neutral site. And when Georgia Tech made the field goal, you could hear their crowd. So they obviously had fans there. What I would say if I was Cristobal to Cam Ward is don't put your hands up, because if they figure out, because most of again, let's just be real, some of the fans aren't even going to be aware that there is new helmet communication. Certainly, I think a lot of the students aren't going to be aware of that. So don't give them that to see it, because then it may make it more difficult, because they may just start screaming even earlier than they normally would. That's one thing that I think is going to be interesting for Miami, is getting the call through that. And what level of decibel can that go up to in the helmet, because it's going to have to be on 11 for Cam Ward to hear the call.
That's a really good point. And you haven't done it before. I even wonder, does Miami still go with more of a signal system?
I might.
Yeah, or certainly have it as a backup.
I might do it.
For this game, you almost, because again, unlike even in NFL, when you play Kansas City, it's loud as hell, but you're accustomed to the radio system because you've been using it in the NFL forever. Your colleges, not just Miami, colleges aren't. That's a great point. Who else has a big road game this week? There's some neutral site games, but whoever else has a big
Notre Dame goes to Tech College Station.
Yeah. Okay, so you're Notre Dame. Same question. If you're Notre Dame and there's 100,000 at College Station, and you've never done this, and Riley Leonard also is new to his teammates, like Cam Ward will be.
And if you're a fan, keep in mind that the system cuts off at 15 seconds. So if you can kind of pace yourself, scream. And then once you get to that 15 seconds.
Are you coaching him right now?
I'm trying.
He's coaching him right now.
You can take a couple of breaths, and then when the play clock's down to 7, you can rev it back up to being loud when he starts to bark out the signal.
Gators, try to remember that after you've had 12 cocktails before the game.
But I do think it'll be interesting, because you want to get to the line fast with the call, because you want the coaching staff to be able to see how the defense is aligned, because they can keep talking to you. And then at 15 seconds, it's going to cut off. So, again, I think it will be interesting to see, not just Saturday in the Swamp, but in general, do you see crowd noise in college football changing a little bit to adapt to that?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Let's take a break. Let's talk some Georgia Clemson. We haven't talked about that yet. When we come back, what a huge game that is going to be for the Bulldogs and the Tigers. That's next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The PGA Tour Championship begins on Thursday at East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta, the final event of the season. World number 1 Scotty Scheffler entering as the top seed. He will begin the staggered seeded tournament at 10 under par, and he is plus 15 to win this weekend. Xander Schauffele is the number 2 seed. He will start at 8 under par. He is plus 230 to win the tournament. Hideki Matsuyama coming off his win in Memphis, plus 1,200. Ludwig Oberg is plus 1,800. Rory McIlroy also at plus 1,800 to win the tournament. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
911, what's your emergency?
Help, we don't have air conditioning.
Ma'am, 911 is for emergencies only.
Well, my husband's trying to stuff himself in the refrigerator.
I see. Well, maybe you should call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
To get him out of the fridge?
To get a new AC system.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Duck Air Conditioning, Jacksonville area's AC experts. For service, repairs to new installations, trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
Frank Frangie here. This summer, happiness is a new Chevy, like a new Chevy Silverado from Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado. For well-qualified buyers, you can get rates as low as 1.9% financing on all new Silverado 1500 models. Your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. Shop online at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership located at the corner of Park Street and Cassett Avenue. Who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Hey guys, this is David Garrard, and I want to tell you about Clearwater Irrigation. They put my new sprinkler system in at my new home at Jack's Beach, and I couldn't be happier. Oh, hey John.
What's up, Dave? You know what this means. You're going to have to sing.
Man, I can't sing.
Then you'll fit right in, buddy. Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers. Hit it, Dave.
And drainage too.
ClearwaterJacks.com.
Veterans, did you know VA mortgage rates have plummeted and you can now access up to 100% of your home's equity and turn that into cash right now? Hey, it's Roger Moore, President and CEO of Loan Pronto, announcing our VA Equity Advantage program. This VA offer can get you $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 cash out with no junk fees and no hassle. With APRs in the 5s, you can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, and get one easy-to-manage payment. Veterans we help save on average $850 per month. And listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6.25%, we can do a streamlined refinance with no income verification and no appraisal, saving you hundreds a month. At Loan Pronto, we respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now and ask about our special VA Equity Advantage program. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
This summer, beat the heat at Best Bet, your premier poker destination. Whether you're a seasoned poker pro or a first-time card player, you'll find a cool retreat from the summer heat with thrilling poker games, big payouts, and refreshing drinks. Join us for an unforgettable experience. Cool off and cash in at Best Bet. The stakes are high, the cards are hot, and your chance for fun is guaranteed. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
These are the last days for Monahan Jewelers store-wide 50 to 60% off sale. These are the biggest savings we could possibly offer with everything on display, discounted 50 to 60% off, ending Saturday, August 31st. We bought so much brand new jewelry that we need to make room for it, and the only way to do that is to give you huge deals at 50 to 60% off everything. And the sale ends Saturday, August 31st. Diamond jewelry, colored gemstones, gold chains, everything on display is 50 to 60% off at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Wondering what you're going to do for dinner tonight? Southern Steer Butcher is a full-service butcher that offers take-and-bake side options that are oven-ready.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows and $2.95.
There are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Jags fans, our holiday pack is back with a special edition.
Trevor Lawrence touchdown!
For the first time, get a limited edition Trevor Lawrence bobblehead plus a ticket to one of our December home games starting at $78. Wow! Whether you're looking for the perfect Christmas gift or want the one-of-a-kind bobblehead for yourself, grab a holiday pack today by going to jaguars.com/bobblehead or call 904-633-2000 now.
Check in Friday on the Frangie Show for the House Call segment brought to you by Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Rehab. Join the discussion as a JOI expert tells you about concussions and how they're assessed. JOI, where the pros go.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
At 4 p.m. yesterday, all 32 teams made their 53-man rosters official. Cut day behind us, attention is now focused on the marathon of a season ahead. Here is General Manager Trent Baalke on the most important criteria that went into selecting the 53.
I think you're just trying to put the best 53 together. Sometimes you go heavy in certain areas. Sometimes injuries play a part. Sometimes availability plays a part. So we just felt those were the best 53 for the time being. The roster's never done. Competing and putting guys in a position where they have to compete to keep their spots.
Baalke did make note that the roster is never done, and the front office will continue to find the best fits for talent as needed to keep improving. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Clemson in Georgia. Georgia, what's the number? 13?
I think, 14 maybe now. I'll check.
It's big.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, but it's 14 big, not 24 big.
No.
Right? I mean, I just think it's such a big moment for Clemson. We talked about it at the top of the program. Just whether you like it or not, whether they like it or not, whether Dabo likes it or not, the general consensus is they've fallen off the map. And they've fallen and they can't get up.
13 and a half.
Yeah. So that's the consensus is that they're not coming back. Is that their run was wonderful and they had 2 national titles and they turned out tons of NFL players and kind of 2 really good NFL quarterbacks but that it's over.
He's not even taking calls from fans anymore on his show.
I know. So, but the perception is that it's over. It is. So, this is. And if they get 38-17 put on them, then there's nothing they can do to change that. Their schedule is App State next week, who has a good program.
That might be a tricky game.
Well, if they're not better, it is a tricky game. Well, then they have NC State the next weekend. But let me tell you the problem.
They might open 0-3.
But let me tell you the problem with App State and NC State. Let me tell you the problem. The worst thing that can happen is, A, they're both good enough to beat you. B, nobody would respect the loss.
Perfect. Perfect way to say that.
Yeah, you lose to Clemson, you lose to Georgia, people respect the loss.
Yeah.
App State and NC State both could beat you.
And you get laughed at.
That's right.
And you shouldn't get laughed at.
Yeah, but you would.
But you will get laughed at.
But there's not a lot of chance to you do go to Florida State on October 5th, and that's in Tallahassee. But, boy, they got to play well in this game. I'm very intrigued with that noon game. I really am.
Again, with Clemson, it's one of those stories that you'd love to cheer for them if you don't have a rooting interest against them, because it would be such a cool story if he is able to produce a championship season and ignore the portal. I mean, what a story that would be. That's the kind of thing that you would write a movie script about if it's able to happen. The problem is the odds that is going to happen, I think, are about 1.2%, because it just doesn't make sense that one school, one coach can completely ignore the free agent element now of college football and not have it be a problem. And again, particularly when it's not like Clemson gets a top 3 recruiting class every year. That is not what happens. Even in that situation, Georgia does that every year. They still use the portal.
Right.
And so I think it would be great if they're able to have a huge year and he's able to maintain his I don't take kids out of the portal and we're winning titles with our homegrown players.
Right.
I just don't think it's realistic at all.
And this will go a long way to speaking toward that, Ace. To your point, we'll see that I'm looking at their roster. There's very few to transfer from.
Like Trevor Etienne goes in the portal. How does he not end up at Clemson?
Yeah. Good point.
Just look at that one example. If you're Clemson, if you're Dabo Swinney, you coached his older brother to this legendary collegiate career. He ends up being a first-round pick.
Only like 2 or 3 years ago, too.
Yeah,
It wasn't very long ago.
And then Trevor, who was shown that he's a good college player at Florida, goes in the portal, and you may, I don't know if Etienne will play in the opener. Kirby Smart's been mum on that because of his off-the-field stuff. But think about if he plays and Trevor Etienne runs for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns and a Georgia win. I mean, how ridiculous is the policy? Because you would have had Trevor. I can't imagine Etienne, with as close as that family is, that Trevor Etienne would not have gone to Clemson if Clemson took portal kids.
The Clemson, by the way, is not releasing a depth chart. Have you seen this story?
Right.
Did they just
because he says Georgia isn't, so we're not either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
but I'm just telling you, this game is a big deal, man. I'm just telling them this game is a big deal for Clemson football and who they are and what they're going to be. And look, I'm kind of like you. I didn't root for Clemson when they were one of the Goliaths, because you never root for the Goliath unless it's your team. You root for David over Goliath. But I kind of want to see him bounce back. Yeah. I kind of football would be more fun if they bounce back and can compete with FSU.
I mean, if you ask my honest opinion, like who would you like to see win the ACC?
Yeah.
I would say Clemson.
Yeah, because you don't root for FSU,
right?
Because they're the opponent. Yeah, I get it. But I will be, I'll be very interested to see. And here's another part of it too. Cade Klubnik was a 5-star, and he was a big time recruit.
He's like a son to you.
Oh, God bless his soul. To me, Loser Monday hero is what he is. But Cade Klubnik was a 5-star, a big time player, and much like DJ Uiagalelei, who was a 5-star, neither have played like a 5-star the whole time there.
Well, again, it goes back to that argument over Clemson's offense being very elementary and not being very sophisticated. And we've seen it here a little bit. Trevor Lawrence wasn't prepared for a lot of the things that the NFL throws at you because it's the belief is by many that Clemson just sort of rolls the ball out on offense, and because they have such great athletes, they basically say, just go play, and it's not a very complicated system. And then you've seen it with DJU and Klubnik so far not being able to really, deliver highly productive offenses because they're not at the talent level of a Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, where the scheme really probably didn't matter. They were so good that, they were going to have success regardless of what the offensive system was. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't think you can discount the chance that this is Dabo Swinney's last year at Clemson. Now, I don't think they will fire him, but does he just basically look at this if they do put up, let's say, an 8-4, and he remains steadfast on, I am not taking portal kids, what do you do? Yeah, because at that point you're kind of at an impasse. I mean, he's gonna either have to start taking portal kids, or he needs to find probably somewhere else to coach.
Well, to your point, if they lose this game big, they have both App State and NC State are home games.
I think they will lose one of those 2 games.
And if that's the case and they start 1-2, then it's probably his last year, because 2 weeks later they're at FSU, which means if you're right about the
that
one,
could be a third loss.
If you're right about the 1-2, they probably start 2-3. Heck, after that they go to Wake. Later on they go to Virginia Tech. Later on they go to Pitt. If you're right, they do have to play South Carolina. If you're right and they're ordinary, then there's a lot of losses there. I don't think they're ordinary. I think they're gonna lose this week. I think they're gonna go to Tallahassee 3-1. I don't think they're gonna lose. But if
their roster's still got a ton of talent.
Yeah, but if you're right, Hays, and they're ordinary, if they start 1-2, which is your prediction, then look out, because then, believe it or not, even as much of a hero as he is there, I'm not saying he'd be forced out. But there would be rumblings. There's always rumblings, whether we think there should be or not. And I'm one that thinks there shouldn't be. Man, there's always.
He would be screwed by his own like him being too good a few years back.
Yeah, he set the bar
too high. Exactly.
Well, and again, it's one thing if you have a couple down cycles in recruiting, and you can sort of forgive that. I think if you're the fans and the athletic director. When you're just stubborn and you say, no, I'm not going to embrace a system that every one of our rivals is embracing, that's where I think from an administrative standpoint, you've got to have a tough conversation and basically be like, you've done wonderful things here. You're the greatest coach we've ever had, but you need to adjust this. And if he says, I'm not going to adjust, I'm not going to coach kids out of the portal, then I think you have to have the conversation of, is it best for all parties if, we go our separate ways here? You're not fired, but, we're obviously not. We want a coach that takes portal kids.
Right.
And if you're going to be a coach that doesn't want to take portal kids, then we're going in opposite directions with the program.
And I'll say something else about Clemson that I said about FSU. Look, Florida State, I think, has got a good football team. I think that was just one game. And remember, they lost on a 44-yard field goal at the gun. It's not like they got rolled in a game. And they played a decent Georgia Tech team, probably one better than people think. But still, I said at the time, I'll say it again, if they are off a bit, if they are more ordinary than we think, be glad you're in this league and not that SEC or Big Ten.
Yeah.
And I'll say the same thing for Clemson. If Clemson has not climbed back, be glad you're not in the SEC. I know you're trying to get there. Be glad you're not there yet. Because I can tell you, other than the elite FSU teams, which last year was, and they certainly were a few years under Jimbo and always under Bowden, and other than the elite Clemson teams, which they were certainly in the recent years, including the 2 national titles, most ACC teams would get blistered in the SEC. I mean, they would be – I'm not saying they'd be Vanderbilt, but most would be what Kentucky and Ole Miss have been over the years in the SEC, other than FSU and Clemson.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, so I mean, I even asked this question. Before the season I asked it, what if this year, before the Georgia Tech game, certainly even more now, if Florida and FSU flopped schedules, what would their 2 records be? And again, it's easier to say. And again, FSU only lost 1 game.
I think Florida State would be like 7-5 with Florida's schedule, and I'd say Florida with FSU's schedule 9-3.
I would still say Florida State before the Georgia Tech game 9-3, but I don't think 11-1 or 10-2. Now, I still think Florida State's pretty good. The biggest question
I think Florida State having to play Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Texas,
at Texas,
and then I guess it would be their converse, Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe not. And then you also have to go to Rocky Top. Right. You also have to, play Miami at home.
So what would their record be? Yeah,
I think it'd be. I could be wrong, but I think that would be several losses, not just a couple or 3.
Yeah. So no question. So we'll. So it'll be awful. We'll learn an awful lot more this week. Don't you think? I think we'll learn an awful lot more about it.
Absolutely. Saturday is going to be one of the best days that we've had in college football for the last decade. I mean, Saturday, the games Saturday are unbelievable, and then obviously you do get a nice Sunday game. And look, we're all going to watch Monday night with great curiosity to see how Florida State responds. It's not a great game. I mean, Boston College isn't expected to do much, but I mean, it's going to get a huge number, I think, because now the nation's curious.
Right.
What becomes of FSU?
Yeah. Well, and that's right. And again, I'll say what I said before. The best thing about FSU, the best thing for them is they're gonna win their next handful of games.
Right. But if they lose to Boston College, their season is over.
Yeah, you can't. If you lose to Boston College, so it's a big game. I think they'll win the game, but it's a big game for them.
Absolutely.
No question about that. All right, let's say a little Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Rick Ballou will talk a lot of FSU with us on a weekly basis, which I'm looking forward to.
I'm going on strike.
I love it.
Until they win a game, I'm not going to talk about it.
But for now, you got a practice squad. Any surprises on that?
Yeah. Just I like the 14 they brought back. I do. I mean, they to me that shows a lot about the guys that they went out and they picked up. The only surprise, only one offensive lineman, and I know they kept 21 big bodies, in the ditch.
Yeah.
Which actually JJ and I were talking about yesterday is a little interesting when you get to special teams. I mean, usually your big guys don't play special teams, so I think as we move throughout the course of the year, they'll maybe drop a few of those numbers. But I figured they had to get at least one interior offensive lineman that was going to go on the 53, and they haven't even done that yet on the practice squad. So that would be my only surprise. I'm happy they brought back Braswell, certainly. I'm happy they brought back those 3 wide receivers and the 2 guys off the edge. But, yeah, that'd be the only thing that surprised me.
I wouldn't be surprised if Blake Hance pops up on that practice squad. I wouldn't be surprised if you see that the next day or so that Blake Hance winds up there. So that'd be one more offensive lineman. But overall, the point I made earlier to Hays is there's some players on that practice squad that can help you win a game.
Mm-hmm.
If a receiver got hurt and you needed to bring up Elijah Cooks, he could help you win a game. Christian Braswell had to go play in a secondary. He could, so I think there's guys, and I think again,
Trey Flowers.
Yeah,
I mean they got experience.
Guys that could help you win a game. Very good. What's coming up? What are we doing?
All right, we got a lot tonight on the Jaguars. A lot on college football. 35 minutes away. The Philly Godfather.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Don't tell me that without any heads up.
Hey. He's got 4 releases.
No, he doesn't.
Coming up here tonight.
Well, that changes my dinner plans. I don't know what you're doing. My life's just changed.
We're cashing checks.
We're going to begin with Florida and Miami.
Okay.
We're going to dab into Clemson and Georgia.
Love it.
We're going to take, the toughest place to play in college football is Texas A&M. They haven't won a national title since George Washington was president, but it's still the toughest place in the world to play.
Well said.
And we'll go to God's country Monday night to take a look at BC and Florida State. That's 35 minutes away.
Thank you, Rick. I'll be listening, folks. That is our program. Don't go anywhere. Rick goes into the night right now. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. Reminding you, tomorrow more of a normal Thursday, by the way. 4 to 6 tomorrow. 4 to 6. Not 2 to 4, and then back to our 2 to 4 schedule as normal when the Jaguars get to their normal program. So we'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So long.